Adelaide, and we're going to take some time out and have a quick chat with Steve Johnson, mainly about how this idea for this crowd pleasing, and that's an understatement. It's just been like bees around a honey pot every time you bring it out of the garage. How it all started and how it all developed.
It's one of those things that we sat down with Tony Hunter 2 years ago, and who was obviously the owner of Touring Car Masters Series back then, just to talk about the next step for TCM is try to bring in some iconic cars that will help boost the category, give the fans something to, I guess, take them back in a little bit of time, back to the early 80s, and just have something that they can all follow, they can all understand a bit more, and they can really relate to. You know, the True Blue era for the Johnsons was fairly iconic. Tony moved to bringing in the XD and allowing it, homologating it. I guess we put a bit of a post on Facebook saying this is what's going to possibly happen. Team Johnson's looking at building an XD, and everyone just come back and flooded our inbox and our social media, which was just fantastic. Got to the point where we were looking for cars, and they're very hard to find without massive rust in them and damage and bush bashes they're all bent. Ben Crockett from Newcastle, he had this and he contacted us and he said, it's in pretty good shape, come and have a look. So the old man went and had a look, and it looked really good. It didn't have really any rust in it. It was a complete car, but we didn't need a complete car, so we said to him, you know, take the engine out, take the gearbox out, take the bits out that we don't need. We still need the dash and we still need the trims and all that sort of thing. We still need the doors and all that, because we needed the internals for the doors to put into the doors that are on the car. And so he stripped it off and he actually donated it to us. We didn't buy it, which was a fantastic gesture. We towed it back to Queensland. My cousin Robbie, he's probably working on the car as we speak, he stripped it all apart. We got it back to a body shell, drove down to Sydney, where they do a special acid dipping process down there, which doesn't hurt the metal. So from there it came back to Queensland, and we were sort of into the design from that point on, scanning the original shell so that we can make sure that we've got all the suspension points and we can be within all the TCM rules with regard to where the suspension points have got to be, how far away from the original you're allowed to be, and went through that process, and it was quite a long process. So it probably took 12 months to 14 months to do all the design and get it all right and us organise all the bits, and then another 8 months to basically build it and put it together from scratch.
Quite a deal of success with your previous Mustang Sally. Reservations about getting out of that car. Where do you think that now sits? Should someone get hold of it and bring it back out and race it against you?
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's a fantastic car. It's very... I mean, Sally's been great to us. We've won 3 championships in it. She's had her moments too. Yeah, here at Adelaide, a couple of years back in 2017 it was, when we broke actually 2018, sorry, we broke all the left rear wheel studs and didn't finish race 3. Great amount of success in that car. It was a fantastic car. It was very cool to drive, and yeah, absolutely. Like if we brought it out now, it would definitely be on the pace, 100%. We knew we were going to have our work cut out with us jumping into a new car with everything new. There's nothing on this car that's the same as what's on the Mustang, apart from, it's still got a leaf spring. Instead of being a multi-leaf spring like it is on Sally, it's a single leaf in this car. It's always going to take that bedding in process to get this right. Whereas we could get in Sally and just go flat out from the word go. We had our setups, we knew what we needed to do. If we had a little bit of imbalance in the car, we knew straight away what we needed to change to fix it, to go at the next race, and it was much better. So that's why we were always very consistent with that car, and we really clicked by halfway through the second year, what Sally loved for qualifying. So we could always, there was a lot of times we were nearly a second faster than people in qualifying, and it was just a few little things that we'd do. Everything's warm, the tyres are at their optimum temperature, the brakes are at optimum temperature, the engine's in its optimum temps and pressures, to just get that one good lap out of it. And we nailed that by obviously midway through the second season, which really set us up well for winning the 2019 championship, because we're always qualifying up there at the front, and that makes a big difference. Yeah, if we could bring Sally out now, it's just sitting back at the Team Johnson headquarters at the moment, but obviously owned by Tony Warren, who's a very close family friend from R&T Pumps, and he's something a bit undecided whether he wants to keep it or sell it maybe. So he had a drive of it the other week when we debuted the XD at Lakeside, and it's the first time he's driven it in 3 years that he's owned it, which is really cool. But I'm sure that if anybody got in that car, it would be a front runner straight away. So yeah, I'd love to see it out there. I would love to run it for somebody, but I know Tony's very picky on who he puts in that car, and he's not just going to put anyone in it.
One thing we will miss is the great handshakes with your old mate JB at the end of the race. You're on the wrong side of the car now.
Yeah, we are. So we're both on the right-hand side. We can't do that. So maybe if John wins the race and I finish second, I'm going to make him spin around and go in reverse, and maybe we can shake hands that way somehow. So, but yeah, it was really cool, and obviously doing that in Newcastle in 2017 when we first won it, that went nuts, and it was just a simple thing. He came up beside us, and I saw he was very close, so we both pulled our window nets down and shook hands, and it just went viral, which is really cool. And but we'll just have to do it in the pits later on afterwards, after the race from now on.